Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Everybody is talking about how to increase productivity and being more productive in language learning. But what does productivity actually mean in that context? Los geht's! My name is Dustin. I'm an IT project manager from Germany, and on this channel we create content that helps us to be more productive, to learn new things, especially languages, and to live a happier and more fulfilling life. Today we're going to talk about productivity. Since I'm a project manager, I know what productivity is and what it's all about in an economical sense. But what does productivity mean specifically in language learning? Therefore, in this video we will first have a look where the word productivity actually comes from, how it has been applied and understood in economics, and then try to apply all that and fit productivity in language learning. Then last but not least, we will talk about how to increase that productivity. Short disclaimer, we are not talking about productivity in linguistics or languages, which is a completely different topic, but productivity in language learning. It has also been for me the first time that I really reflected deeply about what productivity in language learning actually is, and yeah, I learned quite a bit. So let's get into today's video. So first of all, where does the word productivity actually come from? You can imagine it has a root in Latin, and the word is producere, and yeah, this is actually the verb, and it says bring forth something. And then you have the noun, which is productum, and productum is something that has been produced, and the synonym would be in English produce and then product. Okay, so that means that productivity comes from the word product. And now let's see what the Oxford Dictionary says. Let me quote here: an article or substance that is manufactured or refined for sale, for example food products, or a thing or person that is the result of an action or process. Her perpetual suntan was the product of a solarium. So something that gets created which is of some kind of use for us or someone else. Okay, now let's come back to the term productivity and what that means. Productivity in economics measures output per unit of input, and all that typically over a period of time. Productivity in the workplace refers simply to how much work is being done in a specific period of time. So why we say we should use our time productively. So simplified, it's what you put in versus what you get out. And the more you get out, for the less you put in, the more productive you are. Okay, so then what is productivity in language learning? First of all, we need to have a look at what's the input. Okay, for sure, time. We talked about that already. So that has to be one part. And then of course, money, I'd say, because money has the potential to speed things up and to save us time. For example, italki lessons. This way you only need to pay and then you can talk to one person all in your target language. If you're using something else like Tandem, for example, which is also great, then you need to invest more time because you have a language exchange. You're also speaking the target language of your partner. Further could be also membership to apps that facilitate your language learning, or trips to a country where your target language gets spoken. To obtain money, we need to spend time on the other hand. So it's kind of an indirect time input anyway. Nevertheless, I think it's useful to see money as a specific input. Then attention. So when you're learning, how much attention do you bring to the table? Are you laser focused, studying alone in an empty room and immersed completely into your topic or into your task at hand? The higher the attention, the more you will learn in a shorter amount of time. On the other hand, it's not always possible to learn like that. As you know, I'm a big fan of doing some stuff on the side, like listening to audio content while doing other stuff. Of course, the attention will be way lower when you are doing that. And that got me thinking, there has to be another variable. Listening to audio content on the side means you have a low attention and you spend lots of time. But despite that fact, I think it's a really useful exercise and a nice thing to do to facilitate your language learning. And that's where it clicked. It's effort. So the fourth variable is effort. The more difficult it is, and the more effort and willpower you need to spend to keep your attention high, the shorter the period of time you can keep it upright. So what does that exactly mean? Well, let's have a look at some examples. Sitting down for 1 hour, reading a really complex text, studying it through, making notes, all those kind of things requires lots of effort high attention, medium time commitment, at least in the grand scheme. You won't be able to do that 8 hours straight. Listening to some podcast on the side means, on the other hand, low attention, low effort, and high time input. You can do that for hours and hours while you're doing other stuff like commuting to work, waiting in the line, vacuum cleaning your apartment, all those kind of things. Of course, you can also do that in small chunks. Okay then, but what's the output? So, in my opinion, that could be words read, for example. It could be vocabulary learned. It could be the number of accomplished italki sessions or speaking lessons in general, finished lessons in apps like Busuu, obtained language learning certificates, all that kind of stuff. Okay, but then what's the product? I would say fluency in the language, in the 4 core competencies: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Now that we know what productivity actually means in language learning, let's have a look now how we can improve our productivity. So first of all, it's hard to measure the product in that domain, but we can map our goals, the output, to the competencies we want to achieve in order to ensure that we are working towards the product we want to have. We don't want to be productive with the wrong focus. That's like you want to have a car, but you're building parts for a motorcycle. You're building really fast those parts and you're doing them really good and you're really productive doing that. But in the end you will have a motorcycle and not a car, like what you really wanted. So first of all, know where you want to go with the language. Do you want to be able to speak with native speakers? Or do you want to be able to read novels in your target language? Or do you want to maybe write poems? For example, want to be able to speak fluently with Italians about all kind of topics. Can be simple topics, like small talk, but also all the topics that are important to me. So work-related topics as well as the hobbies I have, like geopolitics or sports, YouTube, and so on and so on. Further, I want to be able to read novels like Harry Potter, for example, and non-fiction books about work-related topics and about productivity. Last but not least, I want to be able to watch YouTube channels in Italian for native speakers and also Netflix series and movies. And of course, audio content like podcasts, for example, also about the topics that are important to me. I don't need to understand physics or chemistry or architecture or those kind of things, but the topics that are important to me. Then which goals or output can we set ourselves to reach the level in the core competencies that we want to have? Let me show you some examples here. Reading. So the amount of words I have read within LingQ, for example, or the amount of known words. Speaking, the number of italki lessons I did, or the number of hours of italki lessons. Listening, the amount of hours I have listened to podcasts and other content, and also having them read before I listen to them. And those are the 3 most essential for me. Of course, at some point I would also like to be able to write in Italian, but this doesn't have the highest priority for me right now. The output then is the product we want to achieve. Could be a specific language level or a certification that shows that we have skills in the core competencies. And there it can be tricky because it's sometimes hard to measure it besides those certificates, of course. Product could be also the ability to speak 1 hour straight with a native speaker or the ability to read a complex novel. And last but not least, there's the input, of course. You need to be aware of what you can invest in time, money, attention, and effort. Are you, for example, able to invest the first hour of the day right after you have gotten up into learning, where you have really high attention and can do exercises that require that and that have a high effort? Or can you invest time while you're doing other stuff and tip the scale there? Or can you use money as a kind of shortcut to speed things up a bit? I mean, you still need to invest the time and the effort and the attention, but money can help a bit at least. Doing the right things to attain your goals. Have as much attention as possible when you are doing dedicated learning sessions where you sit and do your learning in some way. Spend as much time as possible, especially your dead time, to reach your goals. Use your money wisely and only buy stuff that moves you towards your goals. Try to find activities in which you can immerse yourself fully. Reduce the effort you need to spend and to increase the likelihood that you will succeed. Because in the end, it's still a lot about how much time can you spend with the target language and if it feels like a chore or not. If you put in way more time than another person and also more attention, but are doing stuff that are fun to you, then probably you are more productive. To use your time productively means to do stuff which is moving you closer to your goals. To do the right things in the right way, ideally. Then also reflect about it regularly if you are still approaching your goals, but not too often, of course. So set yourself goals and then try to achieve them. Once you have achieved them, you set yourself new goals and move further towards the goals you want to achieve. If you have a huge goal and it's long running, you should review it anyway in between. Of course, there are more things and I could ramble on forever, but that's it for this video. I will create more videos about how to build the right habits and routines and to be more productive in language learning in general in future. If you are interested, just let me know in the comments. I also already did a video about how to find time for language learning and why it's so important to have clarity in life and in language learning to reach your goals. Also, make sure to leave me a like and a subscription to the channel, and to not miss anything going forward, click on the notification bell. Thank you very much for watching and see you the next time.